All right, folks, it's just a quick update on the Subaru, the 2016 Subaru. I undercoated it with wool wax today, which is a lanolin. It's basically a grease, a fat, made out of sheep, I assume. This is the spray gun I used. The stuff's actually pretty easy to use once you get the hang of it. This is the third car I've done. So you obviously have a sprayer. You can use a spray can, rattle can, but I haven't used it. It came in the kit. I have no reason to want to use it. And then you hook it up to a compressor. Here's the compressor I've got. It actually goes up to 125 PSI. Has a pretty good flow. I think like 6-7 cubic feet per minute. So just a little quick thing. If you look at some of my last video, you'll notice that there was a lot of rust on these subframes. Now the black you see here is actually the color of the wool wax. You can get it in clear or black. I just like the black because it makes it look like it's been painted. And it also is easier to watch the coverage as you spray it. Now I do cover up the fans. You can see the fans and the radiators. I don't spray those. I try to avoid the brakes because obviously wax, grease, oil on the brakes are not a good thing. But I've done all the subframes here, done many of the control arms. I've done everything you can see that is black and looks wet is in fact wool wax. And the idea with wool wax is that it stops oxygen from mixing with the metal and the salt. So the end result is you end up with a rust-resistant, rust-proof coating. Now, it won't stop the rust that's already there. What it does is it basically smothers the rust that is there. It denies it oxygen. It denies it water. It saturates the metal like oil would. So that's what I've done. I've undercoated those vulnerable spots. You can see that the exhaust system's not been treated because the wool wax or the fat or the lanolin would just burn right off the exhaust system. But you can see I missed a few spots. I freely admit that. You can see just a little bit of rust up here, a little corrosion. But overall, it's quite a bit of progress. I hit the nuts that were rusting. Came all the way back here. I have not taken the plastic bags off of these wheels completely. And you can see that I've done the underside of the car. Covered up a lot of the area that was rusty because this is a Midwest car. And obviously they get a lot of rust. And anything you can do to retard the rust does a couple things. Makes the car last longer and makes it easier to work on a car that isn't full of rust and rusty bolts and rusty frames and rusty everything. So I do wear a mask and I wear protective eyewear and I wear gloves when I'm doing it. So you can see I did that bolt. And it does a pretty good job of covering. Now, everything I've read about wool wax or this lanolin or fluid film is a name for a competitor's product, is that it does exactly what it's supposed to do. It stops further corrosion. And I'm good with that. Anything that stops the corrosion, makes the vehicle last longer, is good with me. So all this black area here, it's wet. Now this stuff does not dry. Let me repeat that. It doesn't dry. It isn't paint. It can sit up here for weeks and it will not dry. It will stay as this liquid lanolin kind of material, sort of saturating all the metal, especially the areas that are a little rusty. I missed a spot up there, but that's the way it is. I can treat it if I need to. It's compatible with anything that's compatible with oil, basically. Obviously, I don't want to get it on the brakes, like I said, but it will help make this car last longer, be easier to work on. I did treat the pinch welds. This is a pinch weld. So I just sprayed it. I mean, it's compatible with paint, so it's not going to ruin the paint. And pinch welds obviously are rusting areas, especially in the Midwest, they rust. That's what you see on a lot of cars. So we'll see how it does. I'll make this a yearly ritual. I'm already doing it on the Prius, and I'm doing it on the Audi. And those cars are taken out into the snow and salt and ice, and so is this one. So we'll do the same thing. We'll see how it does. I did spray the rear diff bolts because I want to see if it'll slow down the rust. Corrosion. I did finish the front diff. Went smoothly, just as planned. And now I'm just showing off the wool wax. Overall, I'd say I got about 99% of the rust saturated with this lanolin. Basically, lamb's lanolin, lamb's wool wax. And we'll see how it does year by year. Anything to slow down the rust, make a car last longer, that's the plan. So hope everybody's having a good day. Have fun. Talk to you later.